Welcome back once again to our Global Tech News YouTube channel NewsFrontier. This is your host Richard presenting today's top stories. Apple just dropped a new iOS update, and you know we gotta dive into it. Today we're talking iOS 18.4, and it's bringing some seriously cool features to the table. Specifically, we're diving into the latest iOS 18.4 update, and its game-changing feature setting default apps in new categories. This is something a lot of you have been asking for, and it looks like Apple was listening. We're used to setting defaults for things like browsers and email, but now iOS 18.4 is taking it to a whole new level. We're talking about changing the default apps for even more categories, giving you even more control over your iPhone experience. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the latest tech breakdowns. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with something basic: web browsing. Before iOS 18.4, if you click the link, boom, Safari pops up no matter what. It's the default and that's that. But now things are different. iOS 18.4 lets you ditch Safari if you want, and set a different default browser. Think Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Brave, DuckDuckGo, whatever browser you prefer, you can make it your go-to. This is huge for people who are really tied into a specific browser ecosystem, like if you're all about Chrome's password syncing or Firefox's privacy features, you don't have to be bouncing between apps anymore. To change your default browser, just head into Settings, scroll down to the browser you want to use, and tap on it. You'll see an option that says Default Browser App. Tap that, and you're good to go. Now, whenever you click a link, your phone will automatically open it in your chosen browser. And it's not just about opening links. Think about all the times you need to log in with your browser, like for social media or online banking. With your preferred browser set as default, the whole process just becomes smoother. You're staying logged in across all your devices, your passwords are autofilling, it's all connected. But here's the thing: Apple hasn't completely opened the floodgates. You still have to choose from a list of supported browsers. So if you're rocking some obscure browser that nobody's ever heard of, you might be out of luck. But for most of us using the popular options, this is a game changer. Next up, let's talk email. Just like with browsers, iOS 18.4 is giving you more freedom to choose your default email experience. No longer are you chained to the stock mail app, which, let's be honest, isn't everyone's cup of tea. Many users have found it lacking in features or simply not intuitive enough for their needs. Now, you can set your favorite third-party email client as the default. This opens up a world of possibilities for customization and efficiency. Whether you're a die-hard Spark user, a Gmail fanatic, or you swear by Outlook, iOS 18.4 lets you make it your primary email app. This means you can stick with the interface and features you love. This means that when you tap on an email address on a website or someone sends you their email in a text, it'll open directly in your chosen app. No more unnecessary steps or switching between apps. This might seem like a small change, but it can make a big difference in your workflow. Imagine the time saved and the reduction in frustration. If you're used to the features and layout of a specific email app, having to constantly switch back and forth between that and the default mail app can be a pain. This new option eliminates that hassle. With iOS 18.4, you can streamline your email game. Everything becomes more cohesive and efficient. All your drafts, folders, and signatures, everything stays consistent because you're using the same app all the time. This consistency can be a game changer for productivity. Plus, if you're someone who gets a ton of emails, this change can save you a surprising amount of time in the long run. Every second counts when managing a busy inbox. Just like with browsers, setting your default email app is super easy. Apple has made the process straightforward and user-friendly. Go to Settings, scroll down to your preferred email app, and tap on it. It's as simple as that. You'll see the default email app option. This is where you make the switch. Tap it, and you're all set. Your chosen email app is now the default. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that not all email providers are created equal. Some might offer more features or better integration than others. Some third-party email apps might have limitations when it comes to integrating with certain features like Siri suggestions or system-wide search. It's important to be aware of these potential limitations, so it's worth doing a little research to make sure the app you want to use as your default plays nicely with all of iOS 18.4's features. This way you can ensure a seamless and efficient email experience. Alright music lovers, this one's for you. If you're tired of being locked into a single music app, you're in for a treat. iOS 18.4 is finally letting you break free from Apple Music, or at least make it less prominent, when it comes to your default music player. This is a significant shift for Apple, which has always kept its ecosystem tightly knit. That's right, you can now set the stage for Spotify, YouTube Music, Tidal, or whatever audio streaming service you prefer to be the star of the show. This means more freedom and flexibility for users who have diverse music tastes. Imagine this, you're asking Siri to play your favorite playlist, and instead of automatically defaulting to Apple Music, it opens up Spotify and starts jamming. This is a game changer for those who have invested in other music services. Or, you connect your phone to your car's Bluetooth, and boom, your go-to music app takes over, ready to pump out the tunes. No more fiddling with settings while driving. This is the kind of seamless integration that a lot of us have been waiting for. It makes the user experience much more intuitive and enjoyable. No more awkward app switching or having to manually navigate to your preferred music player every time you want to listen to something. This update is all about convenience. Now, just like with the other default app options, there are a few things to keep in mind. It's not a perfect system yet, but it's a step in the right direction. First off, not all music streaming services will be supported right out of the gate. Some might take a while to catch up. Apple will likely have a list of compatible apps, so make sure your favorite is on there. Second, some features, like Siri integration, might vary depending on the app. This could affect how smoothly your commands are executed. Apple Music, being Apple's own baby, will probably always have the smoothest integration with Siri, but that doesn't mean other apps won't catch up. Apple Music, being Apple's own baby, will probably always have the smoothest integration with Siri. But hey, maybe Spotify will step up their game, now that they have a shot at being the default. Competition often leads to better features and improvements. Overall, this is a huge win for music lovers and a clear sign that Apple is listening to its users. It's a move that shows Apple is willing to adapt and evolve. Being able to choose your default music player is a game changer, especially if you're deeply embedded in a specific streaming ecosystem. It makes your device feel more personalized, especially if you're deeply embedded in a specific streaming ecosystem. This update is all about giving you the control and flexibility you deserve. Let's be real, Apple Maps has come a long way since its rocky start. But for some people, it's still not their go-to navigation app, and that's perfectly fine. We all have our preferences when it comes to navigation apps, and that's cool. The good news is, iOS 18.4 is finally giving you the option to ditch Apple Maps as the default and switch to something else. Think Google Maps, Waze, or even those hyper-local navigation apps that are super popular in certain regions. With iOS 18.4, you can make any of these your default navigation app, giving you more flexibility. This means that when you ask Siri for directions or you tap on an address in a text message, your chosen app will be the one to guide you, making navigation seamless. This is a game changer for a lot of reasons, especially for those who rely heavily on navigation apps. First off, it means you can finally have a consistent navigation experience across all your devices, whether it's your phone, tablet, or computer. If you're a die-hard Google Maps user, you no longer have to switch back and forth between apps depending on whether you're on your phone or your computer, which can be a hassle. Second, it opens up a world of possibilities when it comes to features and customization, allowing you to tailor your navigation experience. Maybe you love Waze's real-time traffic updates and social features, or maybe you prefer Google Maps' offline navigation capabilities for those times when you don't have a reliable internet connection. With iOS 18.4, you're free to choose the app that best suits your needs and preferences, making your iPhone truly yours. Of course, as with any major change, there might be a few bumps along the way, and some initial hiccups are to be expected. It's possible that not all navigation apps will be supported from day one, and some features might work better with certain apps than others. But overall, this is a huge step in the right direction, offering more choices and flexibility. And a clear sign that Apple is finally giving users more control over their iPhone experience, which is something many have been asking for. So, get ready to enjoy a more personalized navigation experience with iOS 18.4. Okay, this last one is a bit of a long shot, but we gotta talk about it. Imagine a world where you could actually change your default messaging app on iOS. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. What if, instead of being stuck with iMessage, you could set WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, or even Facebook Messenger as your default messaging app? Think about it. When you tap on a phone number on a website, It opens up in your chosen messaging app, or when someone sends you their number, you can just tap it and start chatting right away in your preferred app. This would be a monumental shift for iOS. iMessage has been the default for so long that it's almost hard to imagine using anything else. But the reality is there are tons of great messaging apps out there, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Now, I'm not saying that Apple is actually going to do this in iOS 18.4. It's a long shot for sure. But the fact that they're opening up other default app categories gives me a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they're finally ready to give users the freedom to choose how they communicate on their iPhones. Of course, there would be challenges. Apple would need to figure out how to handle things like SMS fallback, group messaging, and all the other intricacies of messaging. But hey, if they can figure out how to let us change our default browser and email app, anything is possible, right? So there you have it. iOS 18.4 is bringing some much-needed flexibility to the iPhone with these expanded default app options. It's all about giving you more control over your digital life and letting you tailor your iPhone experience to your specific needs and preferences. Of course, there are still some limitations, and it remains to be seen how smoothly these new default app options will work in practice. But overall, this is a big step in the right direction, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out. That's it for this video. If you found this helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates on the latest tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.